Good morning, Dan. How you doing? Good morning, everybody else, as you're coming in. Yeah, I'm definitely not dressed up and taking care of a few little minor things. I thought I should come on. I know I've been posting a lot in the last few days, but I guess under the circumstances it's called for. So I'm just waiting to let a few more people come on. So thank you for your patience, and then we'll get started. One announcement and then a couple of things of some importance. Um, More or less a clarification, I guess you could say. Good morning, Sarah. How you doing? People are gonna dox you. I told you they're gonna dox you. Oh well, you're fully prepared, and you know what that means. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started. It looks like it's going to take a while because I didn't announce that I was going to do this. This is kind of sudden. Okay. Uh, I thought I should put this up this morning just as another reminder that Jesse Waltman. Oh, good morning, Jesse. Hi, I'm making another announcement about our show tonight. Hello, Tara. Hello, Kathy. And Jesse Waltman of BP Earthwatch is already here to listen in. He probably wanted to say if I was see if I was going to promote a show tonight, and I am. Of course, that's what we're doing. Again, hello everybody. My name is Roy Potter. This is the live stream version, early morning type, when I'm hardly ready for anything else of the Potter Expositor. I want to thank you for coming, and thank you for the information there, Carrie, on Steve's show yesterday. Yes, I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew. I've put up a lot of information. I'm sure Steve has. I imagine Jesse has. That we're going to have a show on Jesse's channel tonight, his radio show, redpilllive.com. And, oh, well, thank you, Jesse. He says he listens to all of my vids. Thank you. I appreciate that. I listen. I don't listen to all of yours because you're so prolific, and your information ranges across so many, different subjects. Astronomy, space. I mean everything. You do everything. I'm pretty I'm pretty focused pretty much on mine. Try to stay in my realm of what I consider to be my expertise. Whether it is or not remains to be seen, I suppose. But anyway, so yes, Jesse Waltman, Steve Motley, and I will be on Jesse's show tonight, redpillradiolive.com. And you can just go to that, and the information you can either click on a link that'll put you on the web where you can call in, or you can actually get the phone number and call in on the telephone number. So I just wanted to make sure that was out there again, and the video before this has the link if you want to go check that out. But I don't think you'll need it. Just redpillradiolive.com will take you there. And of course, most of you know about Jesse and BP Earthwatch anyway, so you'll know where to go. All right, so that's what we're going to do tonight. It's at 6 p.m. Central Time. So I like to do this. So that would mean it's 7 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Mountain, 4 p.m. Pacific. Okay, so just let you know. All righty. And again, thanks everybody for coming in. I'll try to read a few of these. Well, Barry, hello. I'm surprised you keep coming back, Barry. Okay. What I wanted to cover this morning is something that Tracy Beans and well, Imperator Rex 3. He's changed his name now, but all of these people that have been talking about all of these different things going on behind the scenes by Jeff Sessions. And I've been really hard on Jeff Sessions, as most of us have, and we should be. We need to be loud. We need to be demanding things. Because we do that doesn't mean that we don't support them in their good works, okay? But action is really necessary. And I talk about one of the principles of war quite a bit, and that is initiative, and that you must seize and retain the initiative. Nobody's fooling the deep state. Nobody's fooling the opposition in any kind of drama. Okay, so I just want to get that out of the way. I'm still not going along with Mueller being on Trump's side. I did for a while, as most of you know, but I think the evidence now, especially with this UAE thing, is just getting to go too far down the line for him. But on Sessions, a lot of us have been wondering. He was supposedly this high-powered attorney that got into the Senate, and yet we weren't seeing anything. And I'm still not saying that he is, because there's so much disinformation out there, so much deceit. You really can't trust any particular source. The only thing we can trust is fruit, actions on the ground. If we keep continuing to be loud and calling for action, and if they don't, then obviously there's a real problem. But we need to stay vocal, because they'll say, oh, we don't care if we're not vocal. So we need to keep demanding it. And everybody that's saying, oh, leave Jeff Sessions alone, he's a good guy, he's doing all these things behind the scenes. He very well might be. But that doesn't mean that when we're not seeing something on the ground that we shouldn't be loud about it, okay? As a matter of fact, Tracy Beans is putting together she's one of the organizers for this April 7th, I think it is, march in D.C. We need to keep doing these types of things and holding these people's feet to the fire, including Trump himself. I mean, how else? Look at the disaster that his statement has caused to his group there on the Second Amendment after the Florida shooting, when he said, let's grab the weapons first and then do due process. Look at how that has gone crazy with the red flag stuff in Washington, Oregon, California, and other places, where mere complaints of somebody having weapons has now ended up in those weapons being seized by the police on no probable cause whatsoever, not even reasonable suspicion at this point. But he gave fuel to that. Okay, he's really got to watch what he's doing. Okay, diplomacy and trying to fool the other side, that's not cutting it. Okay, all it's doing is hurting. So my point is, we've got to stay on these guys. Okay, all the time. Okay, getting on to Tracy Beans and all these other all this other information that Sessions was building this case on the traitors in the prior administration and throughout the bureaucracies of our government. That's been going on behind the scenes, and of course there's been information back and forth about why the IG's doing this, but the IG doesn't have prosecutorial ability and things like that. Yes, Randall, you're absolutely right. So what this article on the Last Refuge, which Tracy quotes in Twitter, says is basically, I'm going to put it in a nutshell, is that Jeff Sessions many months ago did assigned a DOJ prosecutor not in D.C. to do this investigation. And that's been ongoing ever since then. An investigation on all of these criminals, basically the biggest names that we know about, Strzok, Page, Priestep, those people have apparently turned state's evidence, and they're cooperating. That's what this story says. Now, I'm going to hasten to say this again. This could be disinformation, okay? So don't stop calling for action. Don't do what you want to do when you hear trust Sessions or trust Wright. Say, oh, I can sit back and not worry about it anymore. No, you've got to stay loud. Why do you think I'm making these videos? You think I like seeing myself, on the selfie here? No. If anything, this time of the morning, that's kind of a disaster. But at any rate, so this story basically says that yes, that Sessions assigned this DOJ prosecutor. The investigation's been ongoing. Is that the source of these 18,000 plus indictments? I still don't think that's the case. I don't think so. Indictments are one thing. Prosecuting is something else. Indictments could be a leverage. Okay, it's possible, but I'm still the jury is out on that. I'm afraid, like I said the other day, that we're seeing two different systems trying to battle each other, and who wins out is what I'm kind of worried about. But at any rate, so Tracy Beans has been talking about this, and now it looks, according to the Last Refuge article, that in fact Sessions has been investigating all of these people behind the scenes, and that they're about ready to move probably towards the end of March, first part of April. It's been in conjunction with the Office of the Inspector General, the DOJ, but the call for a special prosecutor has not been made by Sessions, according to this article, because he actually assigned a DOJ prosecutor to handle the case. And what's interesting about that is that Trump, if you saw one of his tweets here not too long ago, actually said that. Why do we need a special prosecutor? Why don't you just do the investigation and prosecute yourself, DOJ? Okay, so, he even knew that that was the way to go. If not the military tribunals, or in conjunction even, it could go that way. In conjunction, two separate systems doing the same thing at the same time. That's certainly a possibility. That's not double jeopardy. Can you believe that? That's not double jeopardy. Okay, so am I putting complete 100% stock in this story from The Last Refuge? No, that's a dangerous thing to do. Tracy Beans has been vindicated to some extent, and she's a great reporter, great investigator. She and Scott Anthony and Jake Morphones, you know how I do this. Isaac Green, Jordan Sather, I could keep going down the list. All these wonderful people that are doing so much great work. I have so much love and respect for them. So even though we disagree on some of the possibilities, that's a healthy thing, because skepticism is good. America was built on skepticism. No, we don't trust the redcoats. No, we don't trust the crown. No, we don't trust the bureaucracy, that type of thing. You need to stay there. Now, so I see people are bringing up Q again, and that's such a touchy subject. That is so touchy these days. But I did see something this morning when I posted this accolade to Tracy for posting the Last Refuge article and what it could possibly mean here in the short run. I don't know that Q's AI. There are things about it that make me believe that it is not, that it is actually people. And as I mentioned on Steve's show yesterday, I have some inside information on that pretty much corroborates that. Okay, it's not entirely definitive, but we do have some information that shows that it's a group of people. And I'll just leave it at that. The early Q, no question. That was great. That was an inside White House group, high intel clearance. They gave out the right kind of information at the right kind of intervals, the right kind of codes, et cetera, et cetera. And as I've said, I've questioned some things since January, but that's me. I'm not saying you have to go along with that. But what I will say is this. In the Last Refuge article, after I posted that up, I had several people send me tweets saying, CQ said to trust Sessions. CQ said to trust Ray. This all takes time, et cetera, et cetera. Let me make a legal point here. I'm not an attorney, but I've worked in law enforcement for a long time, and I understand some of these innuendos, okay? If Q said that you have to trust Sessions and trust Ray, and we and Trump, we believe that he or they are involved with Trump, that would mean that the information that Q gives out is from Trump. Do you see where this goes? If Jeff Sessions and this Last Refuge article, the entire article shows that the reason why Jeff Sessions hasn't told Trump that this investigation is ongoing is because even though Trump is the executive officer over the executive branch, including the DOJ, FBI, et cetera, and has a right, he is the victim of this coup, of this criminal conduct. Therefore, he can't know about the investigation. Do you see where I'm going with this? So, if Q knows about it, right, which has been the intimation all along, trust Sessions, trust Ray, et cetera, what did Q just do if the opposition can prove that Q and Trump are working together? They've just caused a problem for Jeff Sessions going after all of these people, because now Donald Trump isn't just a victim. He is a witness and knows about the investigation, what's going on the other side, the particulars. Do you see the problem here? So this isn't a good thing that these people are pointing out. Q may have actually been a disservice in saying what he or they said. Do you see what I'm saying? All right? Things are not always as they appear. And we can't start clapping and thinking that we're in the bag. It's like I said yesterday on Steve's show. We're in a very dangerous spot right now. We really don't know who's filing these 18,000 indictments. We don't know about the tribunals. Yeah, it could all be the same thing, and it may not be. Remember what Sessions did, and I pointed this out too. Remember what Sessions did to the Bundys when he went down there, knowing he had to know about that whole situation. Larry Klayman had even gone in and talked to him, and yet he goes down there and he says publicly that Steve Myrie, the U.S. attorney prosecuting the Bundys, was doing a good job. No, he should have fired him right on the spot. And then subsequently, of course, all the information came out only because of the BLM special agent that was the whistleblower about all this criminal conduct and corruption behind the scenes. Because of that, that's what broke it and finally got this thing so that they could let go of the Bundys. And yet Steve Myrie still wants to go out, actually I guess he's out. It's the new U.S. attorney there now. Did Myrie get fired? I don't know, but apparently he's not there now. But this new U.S. attorney might not be any better. So at any rate, you see how all these things interconnect, and so you can't take for granted that everything's resolved. So the real purpose of this video is to say, just because things look like they might be going down the way, I give accolades to Tracy Beans, right on Tracy, but I'm still skeptical. Okay, we have to remain that way until we see. It's like in battle, and that's why the commander, it doesn't get. I'll explain this to you in case some of you haven't been in the military. You might not understand how this works. The commander, you see in the movies, the commander's out there. The colonel, he's out front, and he's fighting, on the front lines. Alexander the Great, and John Wayne, the colonel or the general, out there on the front lines. No. The commanders at all the different echelons must maintain control of their command. They can't do that if they're personally, decisively engaged in the battle. They can't do it. They can't see the entire battlefield, the battle space. They can't say, oh, the enemy's doing this over here, I've got to counter with that, or I'll let them in to trap them, or whatever. You see? No. So the point is that the commander has to be free of all of those decisive engagements, so he can see everything that's going on. The enemy could pretend to make an attack over here or pretend to surrender. So the commander has to look at what all of the enemy is doing across the line, and that's what his intelligence is about. Do you see where I'm going with this? You can't believe just one situation. You have to look at the entire battlefield. You have to see all of the possible courses of action of the enemy, okay? So you can't just throw all your eggs in one basket and say, oh, we've won because Jeff Sessions, as it turns out, really is investigating. You don't know that for a fact. You don't know where this article from the Last Refuge came from. It's encouraging, but still stay loud and stay focused on demanding that Trump and Sessions take action. Okay, we need to do that. All right, I think that's really all I wanted to cover this morning. There were some other things, but I think, I don't want to put everybody on overload. We had all these since Sunday really. We've had all these live streams and reports and stuff from Steve and myself and these types of things here. And tonight, remember, we'll all three of us will be on Jesse's program, which is redpillradiolive.com. So another reason why I've been doing a lot of these is because I am going to be out of service starting next Monday. I'm going to be out of it for 2 weeks. I'm pretty sure. This is for a youngster, this little thing. I'll just tell you what they're doing. They're taking out my wisdom teeth. Yeah, I still got them. Can you believe that? I still got my wisdom teeth. But I cracked one, and I've had a little problem with some disintegration on a couple of others, and so it's just time to do it. And like I said, I'm not a kid anymore. This is not going to be easy. It's not good for the children. It's not going to be good for me at all. Yeah. So here we go. So that's going to take me out of commission. So that's why I thought, well, okay, I'll go ahead and do some extra things this week, and that's not going to make up for it. But what the heck. Okay, let me see here if you got any questions that I can answer for you. No biggie. I had all four at once. Kimberly, hey Kim. Yeah, but women have a higher pain threshold than guys do. I hate, there are two things I really hate. I've had other things happen, and I have a high pain tolerance, but not with my teeth and my eyes. Oh no 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 no. So you're better than I am, Kimmy. You absolutely are in that regard. Yeah, lots of ice cream. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I'll put on a few pounds there, won't I? Somebody asked what's going on at 311. They're anticipating that well, first of all, by the way, there was a gas release in Houston. I don't know if you saw that last night. We've been talking about there may be some kind of a false flag in Houston. They had the gas attack drill where they had the ad out there for the crisis actors, and then lo and behold, the school system apparently did have a gas leak of some time. I don't know how serious it was. I haven't really, followed up on that. Oh, hi, Lisa. Yeah, thank you. Warm soup. Yeah, absolutely. So, who knows? Sometimes, and having been in nuclear chemical accident incident control and chemical and nuclear surety, I do understand that certain types of agents, chemical agents, they're not persistent, is what they call it. There's persistent agent and there's non-persistent. Persistent agents might last for a very long time. Non-persistent usually dissipate within a few minutes to an hour or something like that. So a lot of these chemical agents, under the right circumstances, might actually lose their potency, depending on sunlight, temperature, humidity, method of deployment, all sorts of things. So, shut up, who are you? So at any rate, this thing in Houston may have been the thing that we were concerned about. But at any rate, that did happen. So the 311 thing, what's that? Well, it's an Illuminati number code. And as Monograph pointed out some time ago, he felt that something along the lines of a bio attack of some sort or whatever would happen probably in March, or at least some type of a quarantine, possibly, anything like that. And it goes along with the 311. So we've anticipated that something of a false flag nature on a major scale will happen in March. Wouldn't you know, it's the day before they're going to take out my wisdom teeth. That might change everything. I might still have them this time next week. Who knows? But yeah, so 311 is an indication possibly on Sunday that we're going to have a problem. No, this isn't fear mongering. Okay, look. If you're out in the woods and there's a bear out there, you're going to tell other people, okay? Somebody said I was fear mongering the other day. I'm trying to remember what the post was I had up there. I can't even remember now. But it wasn't. It was factual. And, you see a danger, you got to call it out. Now, yeah, we can turn into Chicken Littles if we're not careful. But if anybody thinks that all of this concern for what these black ops people can do is nothing but Chicken Little warning that the sky's falling, it's not true. We've got all the evidence to show otherwise. Okay. All right. Oh, I missed that. Sorry. The Kirk the Colonel's an infant. He is scared of having his wisdom teeth taken out. Hey, I won't deny I'm not looking forward to this. I am not looking forward to it. Did you see FBI agent his wife murder-suicide? Yeah. Yeah, is that another body thing from Clinton? Or Comey? Remember what Comey said? I'm glad you brought that up. Remember Comey in a tweet, and this was discussed, I think even Q discussed this, that Comey had made under-the-breath threats to FBI agents that they needed to keep their mouths shut or they would suffer consequences. It was a code. Actually, it wasn't Q who said it. It was somebody else who figured this out. So it's very possible that these people could have been somebody that could testify against Clinton, against Comey, against who knows. That could very well be. Wicked, evil people are in control of this country. And we're hoping that changes. That's really where Andrew McKay, I missed it, sorry. No, Russia has no intention. Russia doesn't want to go to war with us. Our own neocons, Trotskyites, Deep state people are pushing it. They're surrounding Russia. I've done a map study on some of my videos to show you what the United States is doing. We're the aggressor here. The Russians will defend themselves. Absolutely. They will. And you can't blame them for that. But killing millions of innocent civilians isn't war. That's nothing more than mass genocide and murder. I don't think Putin's up to that. He will defend his country. But this is our fault. And I don't mind saying it. No, they have not found the missing CDC guy as far as I know. I'll let you decide what Q is to you. I'm not going to tell you it's necessarily good or bad. I'll just tell you I don't follow. People send me things, but I don't go along with it. It's like this last thing with somebody bringing up, well, Q said to trust Sessions, and now the Last Refuge article shows that we should. Nah, all kinds of legal problems with that, if nothing else. Is Q is Zach? Oh, you mean the guy on InfoWars? No, I don't think so. No. Could be, but I don't think so, because there's some other factors involved that the public really doesn't know about. Okay. And we've made some of those. Yeah, I know. I've heard of William Cooper. We've made some other connections to Twitter on the Q deal, on and some other things. I don't want to go into a whole lot of detail here on that, but at any rate, Twitter played a big part in the Q deal. They actually did, and Q is not our friend. I'm sorry, Twitter is not our friend. Okay. I don't want to get into the Hillary tape release. I don't even know if it's true. Obviously, the New York PD has kept this information because the FBI wouldn't release it, and so the New York PD made copies of everything to try to force the FBI's hand, which they have not done that. So I don't want to, really just guess on the tape. I don't know. As sure as heck wouldn't surprise me. No, it has not been released. Not to my knowledge. Yeah, Lawrence, you have a question. I heard that HRC tape is from October 2016. Could be. Yeah, I'm not sure. Citizen's arrest. Yeah, you always have that open, but you're going to be called a domestic terrorist if you try it. They've got all the guns. You know what I mean? The civilians, we citizens have more weapons and a larger army than the entire U.S. But no, they'll grab you as a domestic terrorist. Is Obama the Antichrist? He is an Antichrist. Yeah, I'm not sure he's the Antichrist. Although there's a question of the spirit of the Antichrist, right? So the spirit of the Antichrist is the Antichrist. But I don't want to get into the philosophy and the spiritual explanations of all that. But it goes a lot with what I talk about with the spirit of Christ and what that is and who it is and all that. But let's not go there today. The Fast and Furious thing, they are going to release apparently the information on how the DOJ and Holder and the ATF ran the Fast and Furious thing and all the criminal conduct that went there. Good job. That's one of the main things that needed to come out. So yes, we're all anxiously awaiting for that, and that should send people to prison. And if it doesn't, well, anyway, let's see what else we got here. Carrie Bella is the Antichrist. Oh, jeez. Oh, man, I wish I could slow this down. Do you remember Hillary saying you might hear some bad stuff, but don't pay attention to it? Oh, yeah, sure. Of course she's going to say that. Yeah, very good point. Very good point. All right. Sorry, I got to move this now that I stopped it. Let's see. Elites don't go to prison. Well, Don, I have to agree with you. That's why I say we have to see some fruits of this. We can't just have hope. Hope can fail. Faith can fail. What doesn't fail? Charity, love. So yeah, our hope might be misplaced. It might well, but that's why I say we're calling for action. And frankly, some of the recent events, especially on the Second Amendment, don't give me a whole lot of faith at this point, or hope. So, we'll just keep moving from there. Yeah, Hillary has gone quiet, which would make you think, hey, maybe there's something to this. They really are moving on these people. Of course, there's the executive order from December on the assets, and then we have the martial law thing. Well, all of her assets are definitely up for grabs, no question about that. Uh, love you, but stay with the truth poems. Brother, love you, but stay with the truth poems. If that boom, 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 boom is what you're talking about, remember, I don't pay attention to that. I'm aware of it. I don't pay attention to it. Will Hillary be prosecuted? Well, remember that was a big thing in the Trump campaign, right? That was one of the promises, basically. And then right after he was elected, he was the president-elect, and he was being asked by Maria Bartiromo if he was going to, I think it was her, if he was going to prosecute the Clintons. And he goes, oh, they're good people. And that went too far. He could have said no for this reason, no for that reason, but to call them good people, yikes. That was a warning shot for me right there. I have two canaries in the coal mine, and I've talked about this for a long time. The first was that the Bundys get released. That's happened even though they're still threatening them, okay? But they're out. That was the first canary in the coal mine, and it's happened. However it happened, whether it was a thunderbolt from heaven or, Trump demanding it, whatever, the fact is it happened, okay? So that canary in the coal mine is done. The second is that Hillary gets prosecuted. That has to happen or we have problems, and we will continue to have problems. And yes, Holder needs to be behind bars. Charity never faileth. Exactly. Who was that said that? Walter. Yes, absolutely. Gitmo isn't a prison, it's a re-education camp. Well, that's how they'll use it for us. If these 18,000 indictments are being done by the deep state under some other system, it would still be the judicial system. If they're doing that to come and round us all up, it's going to be a re-education camp and an execution camp. Yeah, it will be. But hopefully, because I don't know, but I'm very suspicious of that many indictments. I'm very suspicious of it. Trump doesn't need to have that many to go after these people. It can be used as a bargaining chip, but I'm not sure that's what's going on there. That's why I say, we're going to have to watch this and see what happens. Write you some new material, Barry. Spec 4, 91Q. Oh, salute you, yes. Christine Andrews. Hi, thanks. Thanks. The Treasury list has grown. Yes, that's true. But see, that's not necessarily the indictments, okay? It could be, but a lot of that's foreign, so I'm not so sure about that. But yeah, the Treasury list has grown. It's like, what is it now? Hundreds of pages now, right? Yeah. Justice or survivor from a sex ring, the head of which was brutally murdered by a father who caught him in the act. Things are going to get better, right? This all has a purpose. I'm not sure how that fits in. Sorry if I missed something. Okay, here's something important. Mary Beckham is saying, we have military here in New Mexico last night. Black helicopters in the wind turbines. Over the city were gray helicopters, two, no lights, and one with... Okay. What part of New Mexico? Let me ask you that. Are you near Albuquerque? Are you over by one of the Air Force bases, Kirkland, something like that, near the border? And New Mexico could mean a lot of things. Yeah, Bezos is starting a bank. Yeah, that's good news, right? The military made me get my wisdom teeth out before going to war. You'll be fine. It's only a day of pain. You make me feel so much better, right? Oh, that makes me feel so much better. Thank you very, very much. You're from Alabama, Angela. Great. Here at BP Earthwatch, we would all be in jail if we had been anywhere near a group selling yellow cake to Russia. How much more do they need to take them down? Exactly, Jesse. Exactly. Yeah, that alone is enough for a military tribunal. The whole worry about the courts is out the window. So yes, thank you for pointing that out, Jesse. See, that's been my point on all this. It doesn't make any sense that we haven't seen this. It's troubling. And like I say, you add in all of the other things that have happened, the Second Amendment statements and other stuff, and I've got to tell you, I'm worried. This again, I'm going to go back to this article in the Last Refuge. I don't know if you've seen that. It's encouraging, but how do we know that wasn't disinformation, given to them? And I know, everybody's crying disinformation now, and can't trust this person, their deep state, and that. But I'm just talking about action on the ground. That's all that I want to see. I want to be like the commander that sees, okay, the enemy really is attacking on my left flank, and I really have to respond to it with a force bigger than that with mass. That's what I'm looking for, and I'm not seeing it. And obviously you aren't either, and that's a problem. We're not seeing it. We know it's supposed to be happening, but we're not seeing it, and that's troubling. I'm so glad you said that. Roy, I'm banned from your Twitter. Oh, it doesn't surprise me. Wow, there's been a lot of stuff happening in my Twitter account. I got to tell you a story. There's a lot of stuff that's been happening to my YouTube site. A lot of crazy things. I was on the phone with a trusted source the other day, and my phone, I'd get this buzzing sound and then it'd go dead. It was like a dropped call, but it almost sounded like jamming. And that happens occasionally, but during this call, it happened as soon as I would call this person back or they would call me. Within 5 seconds, we'd get the buzzing sound and then the call would drop. That happened at least a half a dozen times within maybe 5 minutes. Somebody didn't want us talking, and it was about this information. Okay? So, yeah. Trump does not have control of his intelligence community, and we all should know that. He does not have it. They are at war with us, and he represents what we are trying to accomplish. So they're at war with him. They are not our friends. They are the enemy. They are our, just like I say on my channel, right? The intel community is our most dangerous domestic enemy, and it's very, very true. Now, see, okay, let me go to this, Renee, because I do need to address this. Renee Fagan here says, I hope I said your name right, Renee. I really think Donald J. Trump forced Democrats to put in writing on gun bill their want to confiscate and harm Second Amendment. His name will only be on veto. He exposed them and killed the talking point. You don't play games with our Bill of Rights. You don't do that. You don't use it as like a ransom, okay? They're non-negotiable. They're inviolate. And he did something really bad here. You're all going to get upset. I've said it already, so I'll say it again. He said to the entire nation, he said that it's okay, that he wants to take the guns first and then due process. Exactly counter to the Constitution. I don't care if he was baiting the Democrats or not, which I don't believe. I think he said that and he meant it. What he did is fuel the red flags movement, the red flag deal that some of the states are now doing. Washington, we heard it from Walter, a guy by the name of Walter, I think was his name. Pardon me, I may have that wrong. Steve Motley might remember, but he called in and told us about it. That in the state of Washington, the people who call up and say they're nervous about their neighbors' weapons, that the state just went in there and took the weapons, and then they're going to do due process. Do you see what the problem with that is? That's a Stalinist way of handling things. The Stalinists would say that they didn't use probable cause or any of that, but just that you're insane without a court adjudicating it, or that you're sick, or that you're a threat. The entire system of terrorism. I went through the terrorism counteraction course in the 1980s. I was one of the first officers to do that. I was appalled. It's not just the idea of somebody that's killing for political ideology. It's not that. There are many definitions of what terrorists are, and the government can use those definitions to do what they're doing with these red flags and what Trump signaled was okay. For instance, a farmer who has, these were the parameters. This is just one of dozens at the time, and I'm sure it's scores now, which really threw up the alarm flags for me, and I did talk about this. If you own your own business and you're not getting a W-2 from a corporation, if you have 2 weeks supply of food, now that's really subjective. And if you have one firearm in the house, guess what? By definition, folks, you are a terrorist. By definition. So they can claim, if you meet those parameters, or they can just even make them up these days, that you're a terrorist, and who's going to say otherwise? So no, what he did there was really, really bad. That was one of the worst things he's done in his presidency. One of the worst. I don't care if there's no way he was baiting, okay? Because the other side already knows you're not playing. You're not fooling the deep state. Are you kidding me? You're not fooling the deep state with theatrics and drama. You're not doing it. You're just not. Okay, what's that? How can I reach you? Just go on Twitter and send me a direct message. Or send me a message. You want to send me a direct message and I can follow you. How's that? I would let you, the problem with contacting me directly, and I'm sure most of you know this, you get information from somebody you don't know and you can get a virus. And that's happened to me many, many times. So I'm very careful about that these days. New Zealand, of course, is one of the redoubts, as is Kauai. Then there's some others. I'm sure they go back and forth. I mean, Obama was about, when, this time last year? A little after that, Kathy? He was in Tahiti, and we have no extradition with Tahiti. Well, we do, but it's a very specific type. And Obama would not have been under that authority. So, yeah, it could be. Tahiti's quite a ways from New Zealand, but yeah, they've been in that area. Okay, let me see what else we've got here. Yeah, no one is going down, Norma. They haven't yet. And as BP Earthwatch Jesse just said a few minutes ago, there's more than enough evidence to arrest, prosecute, and lock, or even execute some of those people, and nothing's happened. And yes, that's troubling. So, Lavoie's dog got shot? I don't know about that. Sorry. Yeah, Iran dropped the dollar. They've been working on that for a long time. Brazil did. You talk about the BRICS. Yeah, all of that. Yeah, BP is still here somewhere. I'm not sure where he is. Yeah, okay, Jodie, and that's right. This all could be a game to keep us busy, to keep our minds off of this bad thing that's going to happen this in the next few weeks. It very well could be. That's a tactic of war, deception, and drawing you off the real area. Yeah, it very well could be. That's why I say, I'm hearing things that I don't like hearing, like this thing about the Second Amendment and seizing weapons and then due process. I hear stuff like that. The missile firings into Syria, when we know for a fact that the Syrians didn't use chemical weapons on their people. Yeah, I've got a lot of concerns. I don't think we're out of the woods. I'm just hoping that in the end it all gets fixed. But the scriptures say the beast made war with the saints and prevailed. Does that mean worldwide? No. I think there will be places of refuge that God will protect. At least I hope so, because I don't want to see all these people mangled. I really don't. I'm sick of this stuff. It's been going on for centuries, been going on for millennia, and it's time it stops. Our brothers and sisters get murdered for people's gain. I'm just sick of it. Okay. Well, you know what? I shouldn't go on anymore. I've got to get ready for the day, and I'll be on tonight. There was something else I was going to bring up, but I decided to take some of your comments. Now, this is interesting, though. Marcia reflects, anyone notice Fulford and Q might be coordinating? I got to leave that alone for right now, okay? All of that might be coming out in the wash here in the near future. I'm not saying he is, but there's some other interesting connections there. And I'm not saying that's about him. It's just some other facts that we found out about. That type of scenario really isn't that far off. Oh, thanks, R. Tuck. Heal up fast. Thanks. Yeah, it's not until next Monday, but yeah, you're right. I'm not looking forward to it. I don't like dentists and I don't like ophthalmologists. Yeah, Ron Lawson, a 10-4 decision. The federal appeals court said AR-15s are high-capacity magazine are not protected by the Second Amendment. Of course, quite to the contrary. Military weapons fully military weapons in the hands of the citizens are constitutional and are protected by the Second Amendment. That's a fallacy. And that gets into the situation, do we want citizens having tanks and nuclear weapons? Okay, we got to have a balance, but no. Semi-automatic weapons with high-capacity magazines are protected, of course. And, yeah. Kathy, you're right. Lavoie's murder, well, that just shows you what we're up against. So for Jeff Sessions not to go to the Bundy thing and say Myrie was doing a good job, unbelievable. And Breitzig, the FBI agent in charge up there in Oregon that pulled off that murder, I think he's still the agent in charge up there. He should have been fired long ago. He's LDS, by the way, just so you know. That does play into this because Lavoie was LDS. There's some things going on behind the scenes there I can't explain to you. But there are things going on behind the scenes because of that connection. And that connects back to the federal government and to an entire secret society network. And I'm saying more here than I've said anywhere for a long time. Maybe we'll talk about that tonight on Jesse's program. I'm not sure. There's some dangerous stuff there. Real dangerous. Yeah, okay. One last time, Kelly, the deal with 311, it's an Illuminati number, and people are believing that this month, March, is going to have a major false flag by the deep state, by the New World Order, possibly this Sunday. Okay. Yeah, Betsy and Thomas, Mary, Betsy and Thomas of American Intelligence Media do a great job. I refer you all to them many, many times. And yeah, they always give a good summary. Sorry. Yeah, you talk too much, you swallow air, and you're drinking coffee, and you're bound to be burping. I need a little Irish cream in that, I think. Okay, hey, I'm going to check out. It's been over 45 minutes. Let you all get to your day. Thanks for coming. I appreciate you very, very much. And be there with us tonight, 6 p.m. Central on Jesse Waltman's, that's BP Earthwatch, Jesse Waltman's redpillradiolive.com. Again, at 6 p.m. Central Time. Okay? Thanks, everybody, for coming. We'll look forward to talking to you later. All right? Out here.